In this video, I'm gonna share my honest review on the iPhone 14 Pro. What I like about it, what I don't, and hopefully this will help you evaluate if this is the right phone for you or should you upgrade from a previous model. Starting with the newest feature, Dynamic Island. There's two things I really like about it. First is how smooth the animations are, the way this Dynamic Island morphs into the face detection, then into the music player, then it splits into a timer. It makes it really easy to access all those different apps right there at the top of the screen, other than having to click the app, which will take the whole screen space, then come back to the previous app. Anyway, it makes the whole thing much more efficient. Now, the second thing I really like about this feature is that I think it was a really smart move from Apple. To take something like a notch that was not supposed to do anything in the first place, and then turn into something unique as the Dynamic Island. To take something boring and turn into an extra why people should buy the new iPhone. So not only as a customer, but as a business owner myself, I think it was a really smart move. It's not in vain that there are already Android apps trying to mimic the same feature. Moving on to the display, which I risk to say is the best on market. It was also a very important part of why I chose the iPhone 14 Pro. As a photographer and videomaker, it's crucial to use a screen that can display true natural colors while I'm editing. And Apple does deliver that on this fantastic quality display, not only for color fidelity while editing, but also for consuming content. Everything looks amazing on this screen. And I must say, whatever it is that you're doing on the smartphone, it is much more pleasant at 120 Hz refresh rate. Once you try it, you don't want to get back to anything lower than that. This new display can reach a brightness peak of 2000 nits, which is really bright and really helpful whenever I'm outdoors taking photos or videos, where it's usually difficult to see with all the reflections on the screen. There's also this new feature that at first I thought it wasn't necessary, but now that I'm using it, I do love it. Always on display. I thought that having the screen always on would call my attention and distract me from working, but actually it does the complete opposite. I realized that when I had to pick up my old phone, tap the screen, click the button, unlock it, I would have already taken so many steps that it was just too easy for me to open Instagram or check other stuff and end up wasting a lot of time. But now, I just need to look at the phone and that's it. I already know if there's a notification or not without having to touch the phone, the iPhone. And by not entering in that loop of actions and distractions, I feel much more productive. And although the always on display does use a bit more of battery, I don't feel it affects me throughout the day. The battery always lasts the whole day, sometimes even 36 hours. There's also this new home screen feature where you can set your background of preference, as I did with this beautiful photo I took with the iPhone 14 Pro, and it automatically creates this cool separation that pops in and out as you switch from always on to unlocked. These are minor details, yes, but they do make a difference on my overall experience. I figured that once I spend most of my time using my smartphone, it makes sense that I should actually enjoy using it, other than having to use it because I have to reply an email or whatever else. This is my first iPhone ever, and I must say I feel stupid for not buying one before, especially being a content creator. I thought the quality of an iPhone camera could never pair with a Pro camera, but now I'm not so sure anymore. It's not there yet, but it's really close and I'm really excited to see what the upcoming models will bring. Now moving on to the main reason why I bought this iPhone and something that I do love to talk about: cameras. Before jumping on this matter, if you want to know how to get the best out of your smartphone camera, make sure to subscribe to my channel to not miss my upcoming videos. I'll be sharing a lot of camera tests, tutorials, and much more on not only tech reviews, but photography and video making as well. Now back to cameras. The iPhone 14 Pro has a new front-facing camera with autofocus, a new ultra-wide camera with 12 megapixels, a 3x zoom lens also of 12 megapixels, and the new camera with a new bigger sensor of 48 megapixels. Long story short, megapixels don't necessarily mean better image quality. Actually, they just affect the size of the image itself. So bigger the number of pixels, bigger the file size. So whenever you see a camera phone advertising that it features 200 megapixels or 12K video, this does not mean you will get the best image quality on the market. It only means you will get massive file size photos and videos. So even though your smartphone may have a fantastic camera hardware, if the software running the camera settings is garbage, your images will look like garbage. So this should be taken into consideration when comparing iPhone cameras to other smartphone cameras. If you want a camera phone with amazing image quality, you should look for stuff like dynamic range instead of just megapixels, which is how well the sensor can process light and register without losing information on both the bright and dark areas of the image. You know, when you point out the camera of your phone to a window and it's all blown out, that means a limited dynamic range. Now, the iPhone 14 Pro does a fantastic job regarding dynamic range, and yes, there is an image quality improvement over its predecessor. Whenever Apple releases a new iPhone, you're not just getting better hardware, but better software as well. And talking about smartphone cameras, this is even more important than the hardware once the cameras are always on auto mode. See this blurred background? This is natural real blur, no digital effect. This is possible thanks to the new sensor, which allows more light to come in. I bought this iPhone aiming to use both the portrait and cinematic mode, but now with this new camera sensor, I don't think I'll be having to use them as much as I thought, once this new main 48 megapixel camera can already deliver beautiful results that comes close to a professional camera. Apple also introduced this new feature called Action Mode, which allows you to capture stable footage. Personally, I won't use this feature. I don't see myself running around with my iPhone. I don't want to risk tripping and causing any damage to such an expensive phone. And I think the new enhanced stabilization feature on the main camera is already doing a great job. But I get it, they advertise this feature using videos of people running around after their pets and babies. But again, I don't see the point of doing this. If you want an action camera look, just buy an action camera. And just in case you're looking for one, my recommendation is the GoPro Hero 11, link is in the description. Now about cinematic mode. Now we can shoot it in 4K instead of 1080p. However, I advise you to lower down the effect if you want a realistic look. If you leave it on a minimum, it will obviously look like digitally processed effect, but if you go down to f4.5 plus, it does look a bit more realistic, and in my opinion, the result is not bad at all. Depending on the situation, you can really get amazing results, especially coming out of a smartphone. We can still shoot in ProRes, and just in case you don't know what's the big deal about it, ProRes is a professional video codec that gives you more flexibility on post-production. For example, having a smoother playback, even if you don't have a powerful video editing machine. So having this feature on an iPhone, it's really exciting, especially for someone like me. However, on a real-life scenario, the image quality of the standard format is already so good that comparing with the ProRes file, in my opinion, there isn't a huge quality difference, while the file sizes are much bigger. So it's awesome that Apple allows us to have ProRes at the ease of our iPhone, but honestly, it's not practical unless you're getting the 1 terabyte storage model. Now switching to photography, Apple has presented two new features. Apple ProRaw, which is basically the ProRes thing I've just explained it, but for photos. Using ProRaw files allows the sensor to capture and register more information and preserve the quality. And the other feature is called Photonic Engine, which from what I understood is basically a way to take a lot of photos at the same time and combine them into one to deliver an image with the best dynamic range possible. However, once this whole thing, all those features I mentioned are running based on an algorithm, sometimes both the photos and videos won't be looking at their best. While using the native camera app, the camera of your iPhone, it's on auto mode, and actually this goes for any type of smartphone. That means there's an algorithm that's changing the camera settings just like a photographer would do, but doing it for you, so you just have to click the button and boom, you're a photographer. But this comes with a price that you pay by losing part of the quality. And because of that, you cannot have consistency on the images. After all, the camera settings are constantly changing really fast all the time. I'm sure it happened to you before that you're doing a video and out of nothing your video gets too orange, then a bit bluish, then back to orange again. That's happening because you're using the auto mode. On top of that, there's a heavy image processing being automatically applied to the image to improve the color, sharpness, reduce noise. In other words, deliver an image that would make you feel like, wow, iPhone cameras are great and I look beautiful on them. But in reality, like I said, you're losing quality by doing that. So how to fix that? How to make sure your iPhone cameras will be consistently delivering the very best of image quality? That's exactly what I'm gonna show you on my next video, how to get the very best of image quality out of your iPhone. And the best part is that this works for the previous models, so if you do not own the 14 Pro, you can still take advantage of the secret feature and boost your iPhone camera's quality. So here are my conclusions. If you're a content creator or someone who wants the very best of image quality, 120 Hz refresh rate, brighter display, dynamic island, and always on display features, you should absolutely go with the iPhone 14 Pro. You will not regret it. It's been amazing. Definitely the best smartphone I've ever owned. Now, if you don't care about any of those features I've mentioned, but still want the iPhone experience with a fantastic image quality, but no zoom lenses, then I suggest going with the iPhone 14. If you already own the 13 Pro and you don't care about dynamic island or always on display, in my opinion, you don't need to upgrade. Yes, there is an improvement on the image quality compared to the 13 Pro, but nothing huge. At this point, if you're still not subscribed, now it's the time. A like and a comment would be great. This channel is new, my first video, and I have a lot of content to share with you. So if you're into photography, tech reviews, video making, and most importantly, how to make money creating content, you will definitely benefit from subscribing to my channel. Make sure to follow me on Instagram. If you have any questions, suggestions, feel free to hit the comments below. I would love to know your opinion on the iPhone 14 Pro. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.